first scripture reading comes from the first letter of the Corinthians, the first chapter, verses 20 through 25. Where is the wise man? Where is the scribe? Where is the debater of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? For since in the wisdom of God, the world through its wisdom did not come to know God, God was well pleased through the foolishness of the message preached to save those who believe. For indeed, Jews ask for signs and Greeks search for wisdom, but we preach Christ crucified. To Jews a stumbling block, and to Gentiles foolishness. But to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ is the power of God and the wisdom of God, because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. Here ends our reading from the Corinthian letter. Then there is a proverb we find in the Gospels. It's found in Matthew chapter 18 and Luke chapter 17, and I'd like to read both versions of that again just to center our reflections. So reading from Matthew chapter 18, verses 7 through 11. Woe to the world because of its stumbling blocks, for it is inevitable that stumbling blocks come. Woe to that man through whom the stumbling block comes. If your hand or your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it from you. It is better for you to enter life crippled or lame than to have 2 hands or 2 feet and be cast into the eternal fire. If your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it from you. It is better for you to enter life with 1 eye than to have 2 eyes and to be cast into the fiery hell. See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I say to you that their angels in heaven continually see the face of my Father who is in heaven. For the Son of Man has come to save that which was lost. We find the same parable in Luke chapter 17, verses 1, reading verse 1 through verse 4. He said to his disciples, "It is inevitable that stumbling blocks come, but woe to him through whom they come. It would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck, and he were thrown into the sea, than that he would cause one of these little ones to stumble. Be on your guard. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him. And if he sins against you 7 times a day, and returns to you 7 times a day, saying, I repent, forgive him." Here end our readings. It is good to be with you today and to have the opportunity to preach. I do wish it was under different circumstances, and our prayers are certainly with JT and his family. The sermon series which JT promised to start this new year was to be about stumbling blocks. Next week, as Rachel said, our district superintendent is going to be preaching, and we will see JT should be back the following week, and he has said he intends to pick up the sermon series. What that means is that we are putting it off for another week or so. But even so, I would like to do some initial work today to set up the topic and frame the conversation. Martin Heidegger liked to go hiking in the woods. And he talked about how it was only when one came to a clearing that one could observe other beings entering into and out of the forest. The clearing allows us to see what the forest hides. The clearing became a metaphor for thinking, and I find it a helpful way to name what we are going to do this morning. We are going to try to create a clearing into which our thinking can emerge from the woods, as it were. In order to find our clearing, we are going to push and pull in different directions. Perhaps they will not be along polar opposites or true dichotomies, but by moving out from the center along differing axes, perhaps we can open up a space to which we can return. And perhaps the creating of the clearing will have its own reward for us as well. Let me start here. How do we encounter stumbling blocks? What are they? If we are talking about spelling, we stumble over silent letters, diphthongs, homonyms, or pronunciations from other languages that remain after we have appropriated the words into our English vernacular. If we are talking about math, we can be mystified mystified by calculus or forget a step in our algebra. And if we start to talk about sports, we can think about missing the shot, making an unforced error, fumbling with the ball, or even just literally stumbling. Sometimes, in these cases, the stumbling block will be external. It will be in the calculus or the defensive player who blocks our shot or our path. Other times, it will reside in ourselves and the quirks of our own thinking or our physical dexterity or lack thereof. And so we find our first dichotomy. Stumbling blocks can be internal or external. And just as there are two ways in which we encounter stumbling blocks, as internal or external, when it comes to faith, we find that there are two ways we can think about what it means to stumble. The dichotomy of faith is found in the choice to think of belief or faithfulness. Then within which we can superimpose our previous dichotomy. If faith is belief and stumbling is internal, we think of doubt. If the stumbling block for faith as belief is external, the stumbling block may be found in the audacity of what we profess. And this is where I imagine Pastor JT was going to go this morning based on the title of Supernaturalism and Metaphysics. For those of you who may have indicated that this was of particular interest to you, please come back in 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure JT is going to pick up with this sermon when he gets back. If, on the other hand, we think of faith as faithfulness, we can see stumbling blocks as either our own weakness, internal, or as derivative of temptation, external. And again, just as there are two ways we can encounter stumbling blocks as internal or external, and two ways we can think of what it means to stumble in faith, the Scriptures offer us two different ways of thinking about stumbling blocks. On the one hand, we encounter a proverb attributed to Jesus that we find in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. Matthew says, "Woe to the world because of its stumbling blocks. For it is inevitable that stumbling blocks come. But woe to that person through whom the stumbling block comes." Luke presents it in a way that does not set the faith community over against the world, when he phrases the proverb to say that it is inevitable that stumbling blocks come, but woe to the one through whom they come. Now in Matthew's Gospel, the shift moves back to the individual, suggesting that we cut off the hand or pluck out the eye that causes us to stumble. Luke, on the other hand, focuses in on the person as the source of the stumbling block, suggesting that those who cause the stumbling should have a millstone tied around their neck and be thrown into the sea. Both Gospels are equally violent in their proposed response to the stumbling block. It's just that they direct the violence at different objects. However, Luke suggests that the violence may be averted when he says that those seeking forgiveness, presumably for being a stumbling block, should be forgiven. If this proverb offers us one way to read the stumbling block, the Apostle Paul offers us a different one. In the letter to the Corinthians, we read that we preach Christ crucified, to Jews a stumbling block, and to Gentiles foolishness. But to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God, and the wisdom of God. In this case, Christ crucified is the stumbling block. Acknowledging that there is a different way we could go, a different theological field into which we could map out what we encounter in the stumbling block that is shaped by the Gospels, I want to work just briefly with this Pauline field for a few minutes. A long time ago, in a Midwestern town a day's drive from here, I picked up a copy of Søren Kierkegaard's Practice in Christianity. Written under the pseudonym Anticlimacus circa 1850, the book explores the possibility of belief. Kierkegaard is concerned that within Christendom, people have come to proclaim a form of Christianity that neglects its core truth. He argues that just as the concept faith is an altogether distinctively Christian term, so in turn is offense an altogether distinctively Christian term relating to faith. The possibility of offense is the crossroad, or it is like standing at the crossroad. From the possibility of offense, one turns either to offense or to faith. But one never comes to faith except from the possibility of offense. Here it is worth noting briefly that the word we are translating as stumbling block is the Greek word scandalon. We can see how we get our word scandal from this word, and how within the frame of meaning we find here stumbling block, scandal, and offense, although not univocal, do share a certain signification. Kierkegaard argues that in Christ we encounter God incognito, as offense and scandal, much as the Pauline letter suggests. It is illusory for us to believe that if we were contemporaries with Christ, we would have recognized God in him. We want to argue that we would not have sent him to be crucified like Pilate. We would not have denied him like Peter. We would not have betrayed him like Judas. We would have recognized him for who he was, even though no other contemporary did. Kierkegaard argues that we only ever encounter God in Christ precisely in this unrecognizable incognito. We confess Christ as fully human and fully divine, yet Kierkegaard says we are more honest to say that in this way Christ is a contradiction. And as the sign of contradiction, we must face the offense of the contradiction. Here we are brought full circle as we stand at the crossroads. Only through facing the contradiction of Christ are the thoughts of our hearts disclosed, and we finally must choose whether we will believe or not. I do not know where we will go in the journey of this sermon series on stumbling blocks. I cannot predict the contours of our collective thinking and the paths it will take or what clearings it will find. What I hope is that we remember for Kierkegaard and Pauline articulations of the faith, the scandalous offense of Christ is the stumbling block, which is to say, it is the absence of offense that should trouble us, not its presence. Unless we confront this offense and this scandal, we have probably not confronted Christ. Again, there are other ways to think about stumbling blocks, for sure, as the gospel writers remind us. Hopefully we can learn from Kierkegaard, however, that Christ should always be scandalous, and we are on better footing when we humbly live in the reality of this confrontation than when we are so sure that we would have recognized the incognito God in Christ. If nothing else, the humility cultivated by thinking with Kierkegaard about the offense of Christ hopefully makes our time together valuable in more immediate ways, and not just as a preface for what is to come.